our second episode of Ringing the Bell, where we are focused on stories at the intersection of art, social justice, and the human spirit. Art has the ability to record history, shape culture, and transform our lives. And when you have an artist who puts all of that together into telling a story, you then have ability to touch our hearts and reveal our humanity in such a way that maybe we can have more empathy for one another. My guest today, career spans 30 years. She has done more than 37 full-length dance performances. She is one of the few artists behind the queer theory dance movement. And I want to welcome Houston-based Rivkah French.
Thank you, Douglas. What a great introduction.
Oh,
Wow.
you like that?
I'm on. Yeah, I feel like I got some big shoes to fill.
Okay, okay.
Some big
okay.
dance slippers.
So I read that you in college found your way to dance through ballet,
That's right.
and then ballet moved into modern dance.
Yes.
And what were you seeing when you were going to these performances, or what were you seeing as you became more involved in it? What were you seeing?
I had never been an athlete. I had never been a dancer. I just knew from a young age that I loved to move my body. And when I found dance in college, the same semester that I figured out I was gay, because I fell in love with a ballerina. So
Okay.
when I found dance, it just opened up a whole new world of expression for me. It was like learning a new language, but I had access to it all the time. You can always dance. It's an inherent part of our experience, you know, from birth to death. And it's such an important part of culture and society that I just dove right in. I fell in love. I, studied all the different forms of dance that I could get my hands on.
Okay.
It started as like, oh, let me take this elective to get, my fitness credential
Right.
for college. And then it turned into, oh my God, dance is everything. I'm going to just devote my whole life to this. In the span of a couple of years, I just became obsessed. So I started with ballet and realized very quickly, this is not for me.
So why was it not?
Because what ballet represents, both in its technique and its presentation and message to the world, is a hierarchy and a binary and a structure that is very rigid, that is like all about heteropatriarchy. It's all about the nobility class,
Okay.
better than, and back from its history, it was set up to basically have the people in the royal court get to perform by stealing the peasant dances and making them fancier and more posh, and then telling the peasants they weren't allowed to do it, the thing they had stolen. You know what I mean? So like,
Is that the roots of ballet?
legit, yes. And like putting point shoes on ballerinas' feet to make their legs longer, but even though they were bleeding, it's like a type of foot binding. Like there's so many just cruel and terrible things about the ballet world, but I still love it because the technique gives me so much freedom and alignment in my body that I can then take to modern dance and roll around the floor like, a crazed animal and express so many other things.
So with modern dance, do you not still have the same, you don't have the same
Rigidity.
rigid?
Oh no. Yeah, modern dance, I would say it's more based on like when you see a little kid, a baby, rolling around and discovering what's possible in their body. So I like to say it's the 3 F's. Ballet is like about flying, right? Like you're up, you're lifted, you're jumping. It's very elite and posh and prestigious. And then modern's about falling. You're like rolling on the floor. You're like dropping. You're using your weight. You're contracting. You're punching. You're showing all of the range of human experience. It's not just this like, I'm a queen and a king and you're the peasant, and now we will dance about the triumph of overtaking this colony or whatever, It's like it was born out of World War II when Martha Graham had to find a movement that would express the tragedy of the atomic bomb,
Okay.
It was out of suffering. It was out of like, let's fall, let's roll, let's push, let's die together, let's suffer together and express the tragedy of human life and you can still fly in modern dance, and you can still, do all the fun stuff too. So it expresses a range of human emotion that is, not possible in the
Okay.
ballet world, and it's so much more fun, right? Like to
Okay.
get to
Because you don't have the rigidness.
yeah, for me, my body needs to be on the ground. It needs to
Okay.
be going up and down and like contracting and be upside down and not just like on my tippy toes. So the three F's: ballet's flying, modern's falling,
Okay.
jazz is flirting.
Okay.
And I think hip hop might be fighting, but it's so much more than that. So I don't want to say that that's the fourth F.
Right.
It's hip hop is life. Let's be honest.
Okay. Okay. So in my writing, I have this mantra in my head: finding my voice is finding my community. Is in a lot of ways, I feel like what you're doing resonates with that. Is that?
You know, I think you can find your voice without community.
Yeah.
I think you're born with it. I
Okay.
think you had it before you even got here, but you develop your voice. You really explore it and you develop it in community. And to answer the second part of your question, when you said, what were you seeing in the dance world as you developed in your career? I was seeing that the queer experience was not being represented at all in the dance, especially in ballet, but also in modern dance. Like every show, every performance I went to see, and all the people that I saw making work around me, for the most part, it was literally just cis, het, straight love dances or, stories about people who are representative of that world. And most of the people in the dance world are gay
Right.
or queer in
Right.
some, like most of the men at
Yeah.
least. And it was so shocking to me that like most of these choreographers are gay men and some gay women, but also straight. There's a lot being represented, but it's not reflected in the work that's being made. And why is that? Because the funders aren't putting money behind queer work because they're conservative, white, cishet, institutional funders that are saying like, we'll throw, $10,000-$50,000 at your project if it tells a story that we're
Right.
comfortable with.
Right.
And we are Christian and we are, representing this very narrow point of view about the world. So, yeah, I noticed that. It really bothered me. And I didn't feel like I was in a community that was allowing me to really express myself. And as an
Okay.
artist, when you
Right.
decide I'm going to be an artist, I'm going to sacrifice
Right.
the security of like, a salary and all of the things that come with, joining the capitalist engine. When you commit to being an artist, you need to have that security of like, I can make the work that I want to make.
Correct.
And I can feel uncensored.
Correct.
So when I figured out that like, it took me a long time to come out. I didn't come out as gay until I was 36 years old because I had a story of I can either be an artist or I can be openly gay. I can't have both. That's too hard.
You felt you could not have both.
I really did. I told myself subconsciously, like, you got to pick one, girl. You can't, that's too much. Society will not let you. You're already a woman. You already came from a low income family. You already, have all these other strikes against you.
Right.
Pick one. So I thought, well, dance could never leave me, but a woman sure can. So I'm going to pick the thing that I know I could like commit my whole life to and not get my heart broken.
So did you not feel you had examples of
Queer representation in dance?
queer dance. I mean, as much as those stories are not being told, do you not feel that there were some role models there of
No, I had never seen a lesbian love dance on stage in my late 30s. I'm talking like
none.
a few gay male love duets, So
Correct.
and even before I came out to myself, like really deeply to myself before I could come out to the whole world, I was sneaking in queerness into my
Right.
work the whole time. I was
Right.
like putting men in skirts and putting mustaches on women and like, let's play with gender. Let's play with, okay, let's have this. And I did do male love duets before I even saw one performed on a stage. I created that, and I put two men in pointe shoes and they loved it. They were amazing. But like, yeah, so that was already happening. It was bubbling up inside me, and I realized like I'm a dance consumer, I'm a dance maker. I'm I'm devoting my life to this craft and this passion of mine, and I'm going to create more opportunities for myself and other people,
Correct.
because community, not only does it allow you to express your voice, but it gives you security and opportunities to continue your work. If
It
you don't
does.
have the funding, if you don't have the audience,
Correct.
if you don't have the collaborators, you're SOL,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're
So
right. Interesting. So when we met at a program that you did last year, Pink Resistance.
pink carpet
Yeah.
resistance.
So
Yeah.
so okay. So tell me. So how did that come? How did you get to that?
Yeah. Oh man, how much time you
Well,
got?
yeah.
I mean, this lifetime or the last one?
Well, how about both
Okay,
of
okay, okay.
them?
So the pandemic happened, right? It
Okay.
was COVID. It was hard times. I'm an artist. I like to perform. I needed a stage. I was like, how do I get on stage? What's happening? All the shows I was planning are,
Right.
canceled. So I'm up at Pearl, Houston's amazing lesbian bar, one of only 4 in the country, I think, that are still going strong.
Okay.
And I'm at Pearl. I went to the Drag King night to watch the show. Love drag kings and queens, but I'm partial to the kings. So I go to see the performance, and I'm like, okay, how do I get on that stage? I don't care if it's 5 by 10 and I'm used to performing on 20 by 30. I need to perform. So I talked to Ian, the producer and director of the Drag King night. Ian,
Okay.
he's trans. He's an amazing guy, and he said, okay, we'll put you on stage, and like you're a leader in the community. We need
Correct.
to talk. Like we need to connect. So I was like, oh well, I got this idea for a queer camp. Where we all get together, everybody under the queer umbrella, whatever you identify as, we should all be together. Because the other queer camps I had heard about, where like it's 2 weeks in the woods and beautiful trees in California, but it's only for lesbians, or it's only for gay men, or it's like,
Okay.
why are we all separated? Like, let's get together and play, like
Okay.
we love each other. We all have this like this shared experience of being outside the mainstream, and we're curious about each other. Like, I want to know what gay men do. I want to know about the trans female experience. Like, I love my queer community. So I was like, Ian, let's do this. I got a great little camping spot. It's only 40 minutes from Houston. Like, it's cheap. Let's do this together. You direct it, I'll produce it. We did it. We had like 70 attendees. It went super well the first year. We had volunteers. We had everybody represented, trans
Okay.
folks, gay guys, lesbians, people from all over the region showed up. So we felt like really good. We were riding high out of that. So then he's like, I'm dealing with all this other stuff. I'm running a new nonprofit for my dance choreography and this new building that I'm working on building in the 5th Ward. And so you want to take over Queer Camp? He's like, yes, gimme, gimme, gimme. So he takes it over. They've got like 4 different events per year. Gay at the Beach,
Okay.
Queer Fear Camp in October, where you can go get like chased through the woods by some actors with hatchets. Like, no thank you, but okay,
Yeah, I don't think
have
that's for
fun.
me either.
Yeah, no, life is scary enough. But so he took
Well,
that
hey,
over.
what were the other 2 things?
Then the Gay at the Beach, regular queer camp in May, and then Queer Fear, and then there's one other thing, I forget what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so I love Ian. He's amazing. Ian Sider Blake, if anybody wants to know, he's the drag dad of Houston. And so I came to him about Pink Carpet Resistance and said, would you want to work together on this? You have such a connection to trans artists in Houston, and I want to create a spotlight. I got funding from Houston Arts Alliance to put on a performance that was sort of vague in the description. I was like, I just want to spotlight artists getting back to work after COVID, I didn't tell them what I wanted to do.
I love Houston Arts Alliance.
They're amazing.
They are.
And they let you shift and move your project if you decide you want to, because they give you the money a year before you
Correct.
might actually do it.
Yeah.
So things are going to evolve, you know.
Correct.
So I just said,
As
well,
long as the basic mission is still aligned with the
right.
application.
And the mission was, I want to put artists back to work. And what happened was trans artists were being attacked from left, right, center, mainly right, obviously, but from everywhere. They were dodging bullets, right, with the grown up, what is it called, the trans story time, the drag queen story time.
Okay.
I mean, all the bills going on in Texas and in other states and on the national level. So it was this real sense of like, what can we do to just have a night where trans artists, and it was only people that identified as trans were put on that stage, can be honored and celebrated and have their audience show up and like cheer for them and just give them as much love as possible and pay them well, because drag performers typically don't make a lot, you know. And so it was really important to me to like have that budget to really honor those artists and give them a big, nice stage. It was at Numbers, so I wouldn't know. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Nice.
it was a big stage,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought the night came off perfect. To be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But I will have to say the artists that you all had, they were pretty incredible. I mean, you were really kind of like, wow, that was pretty good.
Yeah, everything from like the wild sideshow to like circus kind of freak stuff,
Yeah.
all the way to the classiest act, most
Yes.
beautiful divas you can imagine. Yeah,
It
and
was a good night.
Ian really curated all of that.
Okay.
Like he deserves all the credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you talked about running a nonprofit now, and so that is your dance choreography. Now, is that what? So
RFC baby.
So I guess I didn't realize that was under a 501(c). I guess I didn't.
Yes.
So okay. So tell me about your board. Talk to me about everything.
Yeah, I mean, I did run a nonprofit for many years called Freneticor, and we had our own theater in Houston's East End, and we started the Houston Fringe Festival. We had a kids program. We did a lot.
Okay.
And it was amazing, and it was time to step away from, somebody said to me when I was just sort of worn out at one point, they said, well, you're the one conducting this train. Why don't you just get off? And I was like, oh, you can do that? So I stepped away from that in 2016 and just decided I'm a solo choreographer, lean and mean. I'm just going to do my thing.
Okay.
Turns out there's not a lot of funding out there for individual artists. And when you have a nonprofit, it's so much more secure, and you can get those grants to like pay the bills and pay a staff and like plan stuff 2 years out. You know, it really gives you that security.
But to your point though, I think looking at it in that lens is the right way, because you do need society to get involved in this. Yes, exactly. So as much as, you know, you kind of said paying the bills, I think it's more about
achieving the mission.
Yes, and I think it's about achieving a mission, but it's also about making people aware of these different things going on in society. So I do think it is the right thing to
if you want to go far, go together.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
No, you're totally right that it needs.
You want to join my board? Hey,
you know, we can have to talk about that.
Okay.
We will have to talk about that one.
Yes. We keep the meeting short.
We keep the meeting. Okay, good. Yes, it's short. Yes, need to keep the meeting short. Totally agree.
Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The stuff you learn when you do it the second time. It's like some people are like, "Oh, the second marriage is so good." The second nonprofit for me.
Has been
I've
a lot
learned
better.
so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Rivkah, I was really impressed to see that you've done more than 37 full-length performances. Yeah. So, I mean, is it possible to pick your favorite in all of that, or one that stands out the most?
Okay, that's like asking a parent to like choose their favorite child, because literally everything that, you know, every full-length performance or even like a short dance film, everything I make is so near and dear and such an expression of who I am in that moment, and all the wonderful collaborators I have. And they're all very special, but okay, if I had to choose one, it would be the Bodies of Light show that I created in 2017, which came to me in a meditation, actually, after I had seen the show Sense8.
Okay.
Okay, so did you watch that show?
I did not, but I am aware of it.
Ooh, it was very big for queer. Like it did a lot for queer art, I think, in the world, and it was just great storytelling. And I believe it was the Wachowski sisters who also
Okay.
did The Matrix, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, groundbreaking. So there's like a few like semi orgy scenes, and
Oh, is
as
it
a
really? Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Let's
oh
keep
yeah,
going.
this is why you need to watch. Thank you. Like, would I steer you wrong? These all these different characters who've all sort of like traveled around the world to be together in their minds
Okay.
are all having this like beautiful lovemaking session. And as a choreographer, I saw that and was like, well, I can do something similar to that with bodies dancing, you know? So I created this entire piece called Bodies of Light, which entailed the dancers being covered in white body paint and having chi lines drawn on them by my favorite visual artist, Wei Hong, who does calligraphy and works with large-scale paintings of big chi lines that she sees and then puts onto canvases. And I've collaborated with her off and on for 20 years. So we paint the dancers all white. We put the chi lines on. They do
Chi
this-
lines.
Yeah, like just black ink dripped in along their bodies.
Okay.
And they're wearing nipple covers and thongs,
Okay.
and those are also painted white. So they become these sort of surreal, otherworldly, like sort of statues come to life, kind
Okay.
of. Or maybe they're aliens, or maybe they're androids. Like it's completely up to the audience to decide. And that piece was about, it was so special to me because it was an expression of queerness and androgyny and gender, all of this beautiful stuff merging in this very sex positive way. One of my favorite moments was when me and Amy, my duet partner in the dance, were on top of a platform, and we had this giant white skirt coming down like 8 feet. So we look like the top of a wedding cake.
Okay.
And all the dancers are inside, and then they come up through the opening in the skirt, and so we're birthing them in this really interesting way. And then
Okay.
we're all just like doing the sensate orgy, but like the PG version.
Okay.
The modern dance PG version. So this piece was incredible because of what I was able to create with it. Everything from the music and getting to be part of the sound design, but also because of where it was going to happen, which was at the James Turrell Twilight Epiphany at Rice University.
Oh, wow.
So I stalked Evan Garza, the guy that was in charge of all of the performances that happen at the Sky Space. I stalked him for about a year. Once I knew that I wanted to do this piece there, and I wooed him and I convinced him that this was the dance performance that needed to happen at the Sky Space, and he didn't take much convincing because
Okay.
he loved the idea. And he was also commissioning lots of other queer women, people of color. He was like, I just want to get Rice up to date, like with the times, and like actually represent society and what artists in all these communities are doing, and not just the cishet white, you know, Christian, Judeo-Christian patriarchy that they have been funding and supporting all this time.
Right.
So he hires me, we do the contract, everything's on track. He's hired all these other people to do other cool civic artwork, and then they fire his ass.
Oh, really?
And they say, everything that you've already put into contract is now null and void. Because the people at the Board of Regents at the top got real triggered and scared and said, oh no, you know, loss of privilege is oppression, right? Like the story that we see over and over again in society. They fired him, they canceled all the contracts. I, of course, you know, I'm a fighter, I'm an agitator,
Right.
like it's in my bio.
Right.
Queer positive, choreographer, community builder, all around agitator. So I wasn't
Right.
gonna take that lying down, right?
Correct.
So I called them, I said, either you pay me this money, either you let me do this show and fulfill the contract, or I'm gonna go to the press. They said, how about we just pay you the money we were gonna pay you and you do it somewhere else? And I said,
Really?
okay, I guess I'll take the money. Yeah, which I should have fought it more. I should have really made it happen because that space is so magical. And
Wow.
that dance piece would have been amazing there. But then I was able to do it somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. The Crescent, Nestor Topchi's space. He co-founded Avant Garden with his wife Mariana.
Mm-hmm.
He's an incredible visual artist and a community builder as well, and a Buddhist.
Okay.
Just a really cool guy. So the Glass Crescent, which was an all-window structure, we had the audience sit outside the windows across a pond and see the show that way, and it was very magical.
And where is that place located at?
It is in near North Side, which
Okay.
is a really funny name for
Right.
a neighborhood.
Right.
but
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, given something like that, where do you think you're going next?
Okay.
I mean, what would you like to see? What would you like to create next, or what are you working on now?
I am, I decided the mantra was less is more in 2024.
Okay. Okay.
But that being said, as creators, we love to bite on or to take on, 10 projects at a time. And so over the next couple of years, what I'm working on is I'm starting a memoir.
Okay. Good for you.
Yeah, it takes a few people telling you, like, you should really write these crazy stories down. Like, you got a lot to say,
you got a lot to say,
and then
yeah.
you finally decide, okay, it's time. I think it also helps you process your own life when you
Yes,
write it.
yes.
Obviously, as a
Yes.
writer, you know
Yes, it
this.
does.
It's the best therapy, right?
Yes, it does.
Dance about it, write about it. Yeah, and so I'm working on that's getting going, and then the real labor of love this year is the Castle, which is a 30 by 50 performance space, studio, rehearsal space, community center that I'm building in the Fifth Ward
Okay.
on a really cute little plot of land that is tied up in permitting, of course.
Correct.
As the city loves, they want their money and they want to make you wait as long as they want you to wait.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
But
That's
it's
true.
going to be I think it's going to be a real asset to the community, and it's going to bring in people from all over, and it's going to be a safe space and a refuge and a simmering pot of creativity for
Right.
the queer community specifically, but for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so the memoir, Castle, and then I've got a new choreography piece I'm working on that will be trans focused. It will be exploring a lot of trans issues that I'm just currently like excited about and curious about.
And you're bringing in trans dancers?
I think there will be I think queer
Okay.
is definitely going to be 100%, but whether or not they'll all be trans identifying,
Okay.
I
Just
don't
curious,
know.
just asking,
I
yes.
identify as trans, but I also, like, somebody might look at me and think, oh, that's just a lesbian, but I also identify as non-binary, trans-masculine, so things are constantly shifting.
Right. Okay.
I heard someone say the other day, we're all trans, like on some level,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Like,
Well, that's interesting. I never thought about that, but okay. that's a new one.
it's a very sort of wide angle.
Yes, it
view.
is. Yes. So, in kind of conclusion here, I do want to ask though. You've been doing this now for 30 years. Obviously, seen some success. You've seen your lows, but is there something you have kind of a practice that helps you on your bad days, that helps you keep moving forward? What kind of drives you to
Yeah.
make sense of your bad days or make sense of all of this?
Yeah, comfort in the cold. Well, first, like what helps keep me going, being super ADHD, I have to set a deadline.
Okay.
I have to have a future that I'm living into that I'm excited about. I need to know that that I'm working towards something meaningful and fulfilling and important,
Okay.
So like that's my first step, is set a deadline. But the self nurturing practices that I do, I love to meditate, and that's where a lot of my best choreography happens, actually, because your brain shifts over into that gamma state. You know what I'm talking about? Where your body is completely relaxed, but your mind is actually more active than it would even be in like the beta, and that's where creation happens.
Correct.
Oftentimes. So
Correct.
I love meditation. I love community. I love connecting with people that I love and
That's your
care for
That's your
me.
source of inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Makes
those
sense.
strong relationships and friendships. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you to Rivkah for spending time with me today. If you've been with us here in this episode, we've been talking to Rivkah French, who is a queer choreographer and leader and just a real
Agitator. Don't forget that one.
agitator and just a real
Hey.
force in the Houston community. I just can't thank her enough for the time that she's given us today. So, Rivkah, where can we find you on social media?
Super simple. Rivkah French choreography all over Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Haven't gotten on the TikTok, and you don't stop yet, but I'm TikTok curious.
Okay.
And I'm also Buddhist curious. So I'm going to talk to you after this about, because I know you helped found the Houston Zen Center.
Yes.
Which is so nourishing and life-giving to so many people.
Yes, it is. So yes, we would definitely talk about that.
So cool. And I want to thank you for your passion, and not just passion that you have in your creativity, but in bringing people together, and your fearlessness, because to act on your passion takes courage, sir.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yes, you're willing to
Yeah, you put yourself out
stand up
there.
for what you believe
Yeah.
and what you want to see in the world and create it. And your curiosity, like you want to know about other people's
Yes, I do.
lives, what drives them, like what could a cis-het man, have in common with a non-binary lesbian, if that can even exist in the same. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you're really curious.
I am.
I love that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love
and
people
generous.
though. I do. I love people though. I really do.
Yeah.
So no, thank you for saying that. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. So hi, I'm Douglas Bell, and we are finishing up with Rivkah French, and I can be found at douglasbellbooks.com, and all of my social media handles are Douglas Bell Author at Instagram, Facebook, and to your point, Rivkah, I will be, I guess, get myself a TikTok account too one of these days. But yes,
we'll do one together.
right, we'll do one together. So, thank you so much.